7 in the morning, exactly. Yep. And I'm at the trailhead, so I'm going to start the hike on time. The parking lot is almost full. I definitely did not think it would be this busy, but I'm kind of happy it is because I'm hiking by myself, so knowing there's lots of people on the trail obviously makes me feel good. Also, the sun is just about to come out, which also makes me happy because I'm a little scared of the dark, so I'm happy to not have to be hiking in the dark. And my goal is obviously to get back to the car before the sun goes down. So yeah, a little nervous, but wish me luck, and let's see how it goes. I'm 32 minutes in, 1.7k down. This first part is all uphill switchbacks, so I'm quite tired. I've already delayered, taken off my sweater, but feeling pretty good. My legs are in a rhythm, so yeah. Oh, out of breath though. This is definitely the hardest part. Two hours and 15 minutes in, 6.38 kilometers down, still doing the switchbacks. I was feeling a little sick for a moment, but drank a ton of water, had some electrolytes, feeling better. We're gonna keep on trucking. 7 kilometers in, 2.5 hours. I just passed the Taylor Meadows Garibaldi Lake Junction. I'm doing the Taylor Meadows route. Yeah, tired obviously, but feeling pretty good. That's it. 4 hours in, and I've gone 11.4k, which is wild. 4.5 kilometers to the top. I'm starting to feel hungry and like actually fatigued for the first time, so I'm gonna eat soon and pop some Advil. Still feeling good though, but definitely my body is slowly, yeah, feeling it for sure. Okay, so I'm eating this Cliff Bar, which is like the last thing I want to eat right now, but like look at this view. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? This is real. Ooh. In awe. Okay, there you have it. That was Panorama Ridge in Garibaldi Provincial Park, which I called Garibaldi like every single time until right now when I learned. So there's that. The hike is just under 30 kilometers. It took me 9.5 hours of moving time to finish the hike, and I was out there for 10.5 hours total. So I just decided to do it in one day. You can do this hike in 2 days if you want. You can camp at Taylor Meadows or Garibaldi Lakes, but I just wanted to do it one and done and get it done in one day. So I did this hike in early October, which I think is honestly the best time to do it. There's less people, less bugs, the snow has melted, and it's not quite as hot. When I did it, I think it went up to about 20 degrees, which was actually very hot for that time of the year. But I don't think I could have had that same day in like a plus 30 in July. The only issue with doing early October is you're fighting with daylight, but as long as you leave early enough in the morning, you should make it back by sunset. I'm a very slow hiker and I made it back to the parking lot before the sun went down. As far as the actual hike goes, a lot of people complain about the first 6 to 7 kilometers because it's just switchbacks through the forest. I didn't mind this, like of course it was tiring, but I didn't find it that boring because I think the forest was beautiful, but it is quite repetitive. So just be ready for that first 6 to 7 kilometers. It's all uphill and going through switchbacks, but then you get to a junction, which you can either take to Taylor Meadows or to Garibaldi Lake. I chose the Taylor Meadows route because it's quicker. I was gonna do Garibaldi Lake on the way back, but I was just scared of sunlight and losing time, so I ended up doing Taylor Meadows both ways. But Taylor Meadows is absolutely stunning, so no matter what, I highly, highly recommend going through Taylor Meadows at least one of the ways you go. So after Taylor Meadows, you hike a little bit more and you get to the Black Tusk Junction. And after this is when you start to reach a bit of the Alpine, and it's a bit of a scramble. Maybe true scramblers would disagree with that, but I had to use my hands a little bit, which I think is what qualifies a scramble, right? But by this point I was exhausted, and I had this thing in my head that was only the first 6 to 7 kilometers of this hike would be difficult, and then after that, everything would be smooth. Taylor Meadows was smooth, it was pretty flat, it was easy, but this Alpine part took me forever. I was going so slow, I was so exhausted, and you're not just normally walking at this point, right? You have to watch where you step because there's rocks and you're going up different levels. I found this really challenging, so much so I stopped filming basically. I just had to get it done. But of course, after this, you get to the top. And the coolest thing is you don't really see the view, or at least the view of the lake, until you're like right at the top. So the reward is huge because you haven't seen it the whole time, and then boom, it's there. I cried a little bit because of course I did, but it truly takes your breath away. And I would say, even though it is a pretty grueling long day hike, the view makes it 100% worth it. And you have views of Black Tusk as well. You just have views all the way around and it's absolutely stunning. And then I had to go down. So right at the start of my descent, I did take a little bit of a tumble, just kind of in like the scrambly section. It did like hurt a little bit, you know, and more than anything, it kind of spooked me because I just kind of slipped. And so then for the rest of that scramble descent, I just went so slow. Like I did the thing where you're like putting your hands down and like kind of like crab walking down certain sections because I just did not want to fall again. So that definitely slowed me down quite a bit. But after that, I was motoring. Like my descent was so quick. I was actually passing people, which I never do hiking, until about the last 4 kilometers. My body just said, absolutely not. And it shut down. My feet hurt, my legs hurt, I started to get blisters. And I don't know my pace in that last 4 kilometers, but like think of the slowest walker you've ever been behind, and I was slower than that. Like it took me forever. Like I was like 1 foot in front of the other. I couldn't believe like how exhausted I felt basically. But luckily I finally made it to the bottom. Before sunset, not long before, but definitely before sunset. So on all trails, this hike is rated as hard or difficult, and I think I probably agree with that. It is not technically difficult at all. Like even the scramble at the top, I'm not experienced and I could do it. It's just long. It's just gonna be a super long day. And because of that, you have to pack adequately. One thing that was huge for me is packing one of those filtration water bottles. I drink a ton of water, so I knew that if I just had to pack all of the water I was gonna drink the whole time, it'd be way too heavy. So I ended up buying one of those Life Straw water bottles, which was a huge saver, to be honest, because I went through multiple of those, and there's quite a few creeks along the way that you can fill it up in. So that's my biggest packing tip, is filtration water bottle. Other than that, for packing tips, 100% bring bear spray, because there are black bears in the area most of the year. I didn't happen to see any, but I know that Taylor Meadows had been closed earlier that year due to some aggressive bear activity, but it was all good for me. Also, I opted to wear runners instead of hiking boots. If you have trail runners, that's what I would recommend. A lot of the trail is pretty flat and easy going, so I don't think you really need hiking boots. And just for comfort level, I would say runners are the way to go. Maybe a bit grippier than mine, so you don't, tumble down the side of the mountain like I did. But yeah, runners I think are the way to go. Big, big, big important thing, probably the most important thing, because you need this to do the hike at all, is you need a vehicle day pass. It's free and you get it from the BC Parks website, but you need that parking pass to be able to park at Rebel Creek Trailhead, which is where I parked. You can get these up to 2 days in advance at 7 a.m. Sign on right at 7 a.m. 2 days before to get it, because they will fill up. Don't be like me and forget to do this, and then a day before the hike realize, oh shit, I need to get that pass, and then they were all full. So basically what I had to do was, like, every 10 minutes that day, I just kept refreshing the page, assuming someone would cancel because, things come up. Finally, there's a cancellation and there was an opening and I got it, but that might not have happened, and you don't want your whole day to be ruined because you didn't sign on early enough. So get that parking pass, free, you just have to do it. Other than that, just the obvious things are stay on the trail. Do not walk off the trail, do not take shortcuts. The trail is there for a reason, and you're actually ruining the environment surrounding the trail when you go off of it. I did see a lot of people doing this, which is quite frustrating. Also, obviously pack out all of your garbage, bring bear spray, and only go to the washroom where there's outhouses. You just want to keep the area as clean as possible because it's a heavily used trail. Overall, I would 100% recommend this hike. I'd say you don't have to be an avid hiker or super experienced, but what you need to do is have like outdoors common sense in terms of packing enough nutrition, in terms of packing the right type of water bottles, in terms of bringing bear spray. So I wouldn't do this hike if you had no experience kind of outdoorsy at all, but don't feel like you need to have done a lot of long hikes in your life to be able to do this, because I'd say my fitness level is like moderate and I was able to do it. Again, I was going slow, I was at my own pace. But yeah, I'd say 100% worth it. If you have any questions about the hike, let me know. Yeah, and I might even do it again next year because I've forgotten about the pain a little bit now. It's been long enough, so I'll probably do it again. So yeah, thanks so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed.